The Bank of Canada and other major central banks face a big challenge in the coming year to get inflation back to target, or at least get it closer to that 2% target. The biggest part of that challenge, though, will be doing so without doing too much damage to the economy. For more on this, we're joined by James Rossiter, head of global macro strategy at TD Securities. Thanks so much for making time today.
Yeah, good morning.
So how successful do you think central banks like the Bank of Canada and the U.S. Federal Reserve are going to be in getting to that target or closer to that target over the next year, and doing so without doing too much damage?
I mean, it's going to be incredibly tricky for them. It's a really good question, and I think central banks are just hoping that the things they can control help to bring inflation down on that front, and the things they can't control, some of the more global factors, can contribute towards a decline in inflation through some of the other channels, such as goods prices. But they've done a lot of heavy lifting over the last 6 to 12 months. I mean, when we look at what central banks have done across the G10, rates are obviously approaching cyclical highs and getting pretty close to their terminal rates for most central banks, anyways. But inflation still remains really high, and you look across the G10 anyways, and sure, inflation's probably peaked in countries like Canada and the US. It is only probably just peaking right now in Europe, and the big question is, where is it going to be by the end of 2023? Are we going to be back at 2% inflation, or is inflation still going to be hanging around that 3 to 4% range? And I think this is the big question for the year ahead.
What do you think it will end up being?
We're probably on the high side here. I think, it depends on the country, but when we look across our inflation forecasts at the end of the year, we're thinking U.S. headline inflation above 3, Euro area close to 5, Canada above 3, UK around 5 as well. That's not the sign of a successful central bank in some ways. And, the thing for them really that matters at the end of the day is what real interest rates are doing, right? So it's the policy rate adjusted for inflation. And a lot of the heavy work on lifting real rates to tighten, financial conditions and to sort of help to bring down inflation over the medium term, a lot of that's been done by central banks over the last year. When we look at our forecast for the year ahead, I think there's a lot of hope, anyways, that for central banks' sake, anyways, that inflation does a lot of the heavy lifting over the course of the coming year, which means that central banks essentially can hike a few more times over the next few months, but really, as inflation comes down over the rest of the year, that should get real rates back into sort of restrictive territory and kind of self-fulfilling in some ways, and helping to bring inflation down even further into 2024. But it's going to be a pretty big battle over the next year, I think, to do that.
It's interesting because this year we saw central banks moving together largely in this fight. How do you think, I mean, you're talking about the success or lack thereof of some of the central banks potentially in the coming year with their inflation fight. So do you think that we're going to start to see these central bank policies diverge more this year?
I think there's going to be a little bit of that. So take the Bank of Canada, for example. The messaging there is it's close to a coin toss for their next meeting, I think. But in our view, marginally favors the fact that the Bank of Canada is probably done hiking. They're at 4.25. They're happy there, and they're going to hold policy there for the rest of the year. You contrast that with the Fed, who've come out with a message that they've still got higher to go, and they're going to do that. We think the Fed funds rate, the upper bound, is going to hit 5.5% as a peak. They're not going to get there till May, so they're hiking through for the next 5.5 months. The ECB is another really interesting one, because I think the general consensus was that they wouldn't be able to hike very much because of fragile financial conditions across the region. Well, that got all thrown out the window a couple of weeks ago, and I think everybody's kind of been revising their ECB views. We think they're going to be hiking through to June now. So we are getting to this situation now. We've got the global titans, the ECB and the Fed, hiking through almost to mid-year, whereas others like the Bank of Canada stopping now. There's going to be implications for that.
When it comes to inflation and the forces or the sort of areas, if you break it down, goods, services, that kind of thing, what are you looking at in terms of where we might see the most stubbornness in the year to come, or even the potential for more pressure?
Yeah, sure. So let's decompose it into sort of three main categories, I guess. Commodity prices being the first one. That really is mainly through headline inflation. And we've seen some of those come off quite a bit in the last little while. I think as natural gas prices in Europe now are back to their sort of pre-Ukraine levels. It's still very high, but nowhere near where they were earlier. The core goods sector, we can think of that as sort of supply chain issues, right? And I think for the most part, those are resolving. You can look at a number of different metrics and generally get a sense that the global goods market is normalizing. Now, there's the whole China reopening question, which we can come back to. But generally speaking, core goods pressure seems to be to the downside. That leaves core services. And we've heard, Chair Powell talk about this increasingly at the last meeting about it's the core services ex shelter component that they're really, really watching. And this goes beyond just the Fed. I mean, this is all major central banks looking at this sector. It's incredibly entwined with labor markets. And when you look across the world, I mean, labor markets are very, very tight right now. And this is essentially central bank's goal this year. It's unfortunate to say, but I think they're in a position where they need to cause a little bit of damage to labor markets to try and prevent some of that labor market and service price inflation dynamics from taking off. And if they can do that successfully, we'll see service inflation coming down through this, especially through the second half of the year. You layer on top of that commodities in the goods sector, the core goods sector, and actually you can see inflation coming down. But if they're not successful in softening those labor markets, I think that's where the real risks lie. We could see services inflation, which, don't forget, is a huge portion of that inflation basket, really sustained throughout all of 2023 and causing some real problems for central banks.
James, you mentioned China. What are your thoughts on what that's going to mean for the inflation situation? Because it has the potential to ease some, elements in terms of supply issues if, factories were unable to be working at full capacity right now, all that kind of stuff. But then on the other side, pent-up demand out of China for people who haven't been able to be buying the things that they want to buy. There's that. And then this week, we've been talking so much about the COVID cases and the spread, not just within China, but now potentially, what does it mean that China reopens and perhaps those cases could spread outside of China as well? How are you thinking about that and the sort of forces potentially for inflation that could come from it?
I mean, it's an incredibly complex question. I think you just highlighted some of the big challenges there. From our view of it generally is that factories in China, sort of from a production side, have learned to operate under this zero COVID rule over the last few years. And so, generally, if anything, things should get easier for them. But they've already done a pretty good job optimizing around those constraints. It's the Chinese consumer that's really, re-entering the global marketplace in some ways. And I think much like we saw in the rest of the world, the goods market continued to chug along absolutely fine because people were just ordering everything to their house instead. And it was the services side that had really shut down. So I think from a Chinese consumer point of view, it's probably the services economy in China that's going to see a huge boost from this, which perhaps has less global spillovers than if it were, say, the goods sector. The real global spillover and, some of the hiccups aside that we're seeing right now with obviously the COVID spreading on these flights and sort of possible introduction of negative COVID test requirements and that sort of thing. Once and if we're through that, then you do suddenly have Chinese tourism opening up again. And, for some countries, Chinese tourism is an immense revenue generator and does contribute quite significantly to economies. So that's probably one of the big factors or global spillovers that we'll see from it. But there are so many questions about just, how it, on the production side, the goods side, the services side, it's hard to have a crystal ball here.
Oh, absolutely.